Part 1. White Clouds. Verdant Rain Moon. Tower of Black Winds. The ceaseless rains that satiate the verdant landscape of Fodlan are accompanied by fierce winds and mighty roars of thunder. This abundance of rain, sparkling as it falls against beams of emerging sunlight, is a constant reminder to the people of Fodlan that nature is ever wild and unpredictable. For when the rain finally does take pause, the clouds part and give way to a glorious rainbow.
I have a new mission for you, Professor. I would like for you to take your students into Kingdom territory to eliminate some thieves.
They stole a hero's relic from House Gautier of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, the Lance of Ruin. Their leader's name is Miklan. He is apparently a disowned son of House Gautier. I believe it had something to do with his lack of a crest. Such happenings are fairly common within the kingdom.
The Crestless cannot unleash the goddess's power even if they possess a relic. Nonetheless, they are still capable of simply wielding those weapons.
The hero's relics are immensely powerful weapons. We must meet this threat with adequate force. Unfortunately, most of the Knights of Seiros are away from the monastery, purging the apostates of the Western Church. So we are entrusting you with this mission. After all, you wield the Sword of the Creator, which is more than capable of opposing any relic.
The Sword of the Creator is a powerful weapon well beyond the other relics. You have nothing to fear. However, to ensure that no harm comes to the students, we will also send the monastery's most skilled individuals to aid you.
I must remind you that you are expected to conduct yourself in a manner befitting the wielder of that holy sword. Also, you should know that Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. That is all.
Hey, Teach. I gotta say, I never would have guessed you were a descendant of the King of Liberation. You didn't forget, did you? That story I told you about a relic that could cut a mountain in half? That relic was the Sword of the Creator, the very same used by Nemesis, the King of Liberation. Don't be coy, Teach. The Sword of the Creator could only be wielded by Nemesis. If you can use it too, that can only mean you have that bloodline's crest. Fine, keep your secrets. But just so you know, I don't understand isn't gonna cut it here at the monastery. Speaking of, Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. He probably wants to examine your crest with those crazy instruments of his. Actually, sounds amusing. Maybe I'll tag along.
If it isn't my little Claude, what has you so worked up?
Judith? What are you doing here?
That's Lady Judith to you, boy. I told you, until you're in charge, I expect you to address me with all due respect. Anyway, I'm here to retrieve you. Duke Regan's condition has taken a turn for the worse.
Are you saying the old man's on his deathbed?
No, it's not that bad. But in the state he's in, he won't be able to participate in the next roundtable conference. He wants you to go in his stead. I volunteered to play the messenger.
Well, thanks for that. Oh, and Teach, this is Judith, also known as the hero of House Daphne.
So you're little Claude's teacher, are you? How much trouble has he been giving you?
If her nickname didn't give it away, you should know that Judith, Lady Judith, is the leader of the famous House Daphne of the Leicester Alliance. She used to be a big deal at the roundtable conferences, but it seems of late she's been reduced to a mere...
You had better shut that mouth before I put my boot in it, you tactless nuisance. Now come on, let's get going. Sorry, Professor, but I need to borrow the boy for a bit.
I suppose we'll have to finish our chat later. Sorry, Teach. But don't you worry, I'll be back in time for our next mission. All right, Judith. Let's get going.
It's Lady... I suppose you are the active leader for the time being. Fair enough, boy. Fair enough.
Good of you to come, Professor. I've heard much about you lately. Specifically, that you are able to awaken the sword of the Creator's power. Thusly, it seems the true nature of your crest has been uncovered. I had, of course, seen your crest before. However, at first, I failed to recognize its true nature. Eventually, it dawned on me that what is visible is perhaps merely a small part of a greater whole. In other words, your crest is too significant to be detected when using normal instruments. After this discovery, I began researching crests that might fit that description, which allowed for a temporary hypothesis. However, I could not be certain. The crest my conclusions led me to was far too unusual. A crest thought to have disappeared from this world in the millennium since the fall of Nemesis, the King of Liberation. The crest of flames. That is what you possess. Your ability to wield the sword of the Creator has unequivocally proven my hypothesis. A legendary power, dormant since time immemorial and now resurrected. There can be no doubt that this ancient power resides within you.
Hey, Leone. Are you just getting back?
Oh, this? I thought I'd get all my chores done at once. Sorry to...
I'm happy to have...
Well, first it was just the cloth scraps from the table. After that, it was the books the scholar...
Whoa. It sounds like you did a lot of running around.
It wasn't so bad. I just figured it would save time if I did it all in one trip.
You planned all that out? What are you gonna do with all that?
The scraps will be good for dishcloths, and I can make soap from the oil. The books are just to help with my studies.
You really can't let anything go to waste.
Nope. Can't stand the idea.
Who knew you were so thoughtful? I mean, with actual thinking ahead. You're so generous to everyone and always making me food. I never knew how much thought you must put into it.
I cook to relax, and it's nice seeing how enthusiastic you get about eating what I make. Whatever I give away is just the stuff that isn't useful. Giving things like that to people who need them or who can actually use them makes sure they aren't wasted.
That makes sense. You've got to use up the stuff you've got after all. Hey, do you think you're like this because you didn't have much growing up?
I guess times were tough now that you mention it. The folks in my village definitely aren't rich. My dad had to go through a lot of trouble to get the recommendations I needed to attend the academy. That doesn't mean I've grown up to be stingy. It just means I don't like to squander. Anyway, enough of that. It's in poor taste to go on about your own hardships. I've always got time for a meal with a friend, and it so happens I picked up some choice meat today.
Now you're speaking my language.
So. Ah, Professor. Gerald, it seems he has gone off somewhere. If he is not in his room, then... I have something to ask of you. I have something to ask of you.
You must, however, you will most... May I ask a favor of... May I ask a favor of you? I'm pleased to have been invited. I am grateful. course. Of course. How quickly this delightful time has passed. However, we must return to our work. I appreciate your effort.
Oh, Professor, are you looking for Captain Gerald? He was talking.
Don't you think maybe he's
Professor.
Don't you think maybe he's You have my thanks. Thank you. You have my thanks. What a lovely fragrance. Yes? No. All right. No. Thank you for the... Hi. Don't you think maybe he's... You have my thanks. Thank you for... You have my thanks. This flavor is splendid. All right. All right. All right. I can't believe it. Yes? All right. I'm realizing that I can learn a lot from you. All right. Thank you for the delicious...
Oh, Gerald? There's a graveyard. I can't remember where.
Don't you think maybe he's... Thank you very much.
Would you help me out?
No.
What do you require? Farewell.
I could use your help.
Some people are unhappy, and some are unhappy because of it. Oh, they...
I appreciate your effort.
Why is perhaps... I would like to have... Might you help me with a favor? Maybe.
Hello there.
Welcome. Will this one do? Will this one do? Many thanks. 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 Come back soon.
Knew I could count on you. Hey there. Is this it? Is this it? There you go. Is this it? There you go. Is this it? Is this it? There you go. Is this it? There you go. Is this it? There you go. Come back anytime.
welcome. Will this one do? Will this one do? Many thanks. Come back soon.
You have helped me so much. Really?
You're back. It can be a little hard to find. Very well.
Oh.
Hi.
Hey, I was there. She's resting beneath. Oh, of course you would ask that. I suppose I haven't talked much about her. She was gentle and smart. Oh, so smart. A wonderful cook. Always kind to everyone. And she loved flowers. Whenever I brought her back an unusual flower, her face would light up. I cherish those memories. I can't count how many times she made me happy just by smiling. And she smiled the most when she was pregnant with you. She died right after you were born. She wasn't able to spend much time with you. But she loved you with all her heart. That's the truest thing I know. This ring is the only keepsake I have of her. In time, it will be yours. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her.
Well done. You have my thanks.
There's her face.
You. How are you managing the Sword of the Creator? You will need the sword.
You must, however, you will.
I still.
You equipped to think. I cannot. As for them, I hope we find.
This.
That looks.
My...
Okay.
Don't fall.
Ah, there's yet another option.
Lawrence, what are you doing?
Oh, hello, Hilda. I'm using these pieces to represent soldiers on the battlefield.
Very good. Is it fun?
Oh, it is utterly engrossing. Look, swap out just certain pieces for others, and the board completely changes. Then, even considering the same types of
Oh, I see.
Nonsense. It's thanks to your many requests that I've working to accommodate you has convincing. After all, the risk of getting hurt is greatly reduced if you are prepared for it. So now I will be ready for anything.
Lawrence, you're so wonderful.
Tell me something, Hilda. Did you make all of these ludicrous requests of me purely so that I might have the opportunity to develop myself? Because if so, I am deeply moved. Thank you for caring so thoughtfully and passionately for my personal growth.
You're welcome.
If you will permit me to return the favor, I do have one request to make of you.
I'm not usually one for...
I would be so pleased to have the opportunity to observe you in act.
Oh, very well. You
You've convinced me. But if it gets too intense, you'll help me out, right?
Huh? Are you actually reading, Hilda? I thought...
Oh, hush. It's just a letter from my brother. He sends them all the time.
Your brother, huh? Isn't he known as a great general of the Alliance? A true...
Don't even start. That's got nothing to do with me.
Uh-oh, better not let your brother hear you say that. 'Twould break his fraternal heart. But all joking aside, it sounds like he really cares for you.
You can say that again. He must be rather bored, too, now that the situation in Elmira has settled down.
Ah, the Elmirans, the Eastern Menace, as they're often called. I did hear your brother had fought them a number of times. In fact, I hear he's even gone toe-to-toe with Nadir, the great Elmiran warrior.
Nadir the Undefeated, was it? Just another grizzled old man as far as I'm concerned. But my father was ecstatic when he heard my brother had defeated him. He paraded my brother all over our territory. What a pain that must have been for our people.
A pain? Any celebration is something to be enjoyed. Celebration puts smiles on faces faster than anything. I'm sure even you at least congratulated him, right? A smile from you would surely mean the world to your brother.
Well, sure. Then he got all worked up and started saying things like, I am the protector of Fodlan.
That's not far from the truth, you know? Why do you think the Elmirans have been so quiet lately? If House Goneril of the Border were a bunch of weaklings, the Elmirans would have invaded Fodlan a long time ago.
You talk about it as though you've spoken to the Elmirans yourself.
Well, I am heir to the leading house of the Alliance. I'm privy to all kinds of information, whether I like it or not.
You act so nonchalant about your studies, but you know so much about politics and history. You're a hard guy to grasp, you know that, Claude?
Oh, I disagree. I'd let you grasp me any day. My hand, my heart, even my neck. But if you want to know all of my secrets, you'll have to bear yours as well. Hey, Teach, hold on a minute, okay? I'm gonna have this cleared up in no time. I came across a fascinating book about poisons, and so I wanted to try mixing one up myself. And done. What do you think of that, Teach? A colorless, odorless poison. Say, care to test it out for me? In 2 days' time, you'll have a terrible case of, let's call it stomach trouble. It's a peaceful poison, so you'll live. But I hear your silent question, Teach. Why the delay? That's so it can be used even if you don't have access to the target when you need the poison to take effect. Naturally, I have no immediate plans for this stuff. I suppose I just felt like broadening the old horizons a bit. When devising schemes, it's best to have as many options at your disposal as possible. Expanding those options is kind of a hobby for me. Well, I grew up in an environment where it was necessary to think that way. It's like I told you before, I wasn't born into a life of luxury. Ever since I was a child, I've always been seen as different. I've been resented and hated. There have even been attempts on my life. I don't believe I've earned such treatment, but that's how it goes for people like me. Thanks, Teach. You know, in many ways, I'm just a normal person like everyone else. But in the right environment, anyone could be seen as an outsider. It can become overwhelming. And that's why I kept running, kept fighting. As a kid, I spent a lot of time licking my wounds and coming up with schemes, trying to keep my nose out of trouble while plotting against my enemies. My parents always told me I wouldn't grow stronger if I didn't learn to fight my own battles. And so in the end, I did. And I grew up to be as independent, as self-reliant as my parents always wished for me to be. Lucky me, right? If anyone knows what I'm talking about, it must be you, eh, Teach? I get the feeling you know what it's like to be an outsider. The moment I first laid eyes on you, I knew you weren't like everyone else. On the bright side, that's also part of the reason that I find you so interesting.
Let me see.
Let's do this again. I see. That was... I see.
Nope. Not. I've learned.
I'll keep. I think. No.
It's. Oh. How could someone like me do this?
You really? I think I get.
Well. Oh, of course.
Professor.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, let's do our best.
We did some great work.
Experience is everything.
I'm beginning to understand.
I think I've got the hang of it.
Oh yeah, getting